Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Disney. We're going to give you a daily dose of dismal Disney. We haven't done that in a while, right?
Well, it's not dismal for Iger.
It's not for Iger. Yeah, Iger got a 30% raise after laying a bunch of people off.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that.
All those layoffs like ESPN, ABC, Disney Entertainment, Pixar, all that. Yeah. So after all that, they filed a compensation form or something with the SEC, and they disclosed that he is getting 40.1 million or 41 point something million this year. I forget exactly the total off the top of my head. He is getting 41.1 million, which is a 30% increase from last year where he got 31.6 million.
Yeah, so again, remember all the Pixar animators that got gone and the ESPN people and the TV people, and we have to make these cuts, guys. Bob gets more money. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this because it hardly seems fair. It really doesn't seem
No, but
fair.
this is typical.
Yeah. Before you get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you will get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Check out clownfish-com for more content and also help support us by buying some merchandise. You can also support the Reef here on YouTube and on Locals. Thank you very much for that. Mm-hmm. So you put this up on Pirates and Princesses.
Yes.
And
So it was announced yesterday. Everybody was talking about it. Bob Iger is getting a 30% increase in his compensation package from last year. Now he gets a base pay of $1 million, and he's been getting that. But he also received non-equity incentive pay and compensation of $7.2 million, $18.3 million in stock, $12 million in options, and a change in pension value, deferred compensation earnings. Some people said that applies to like his flights and stuff for like almost $500,000, and $2.1 million in other compensation.
And the partridge and pear tree.
Mm-hmm. That's what he gets. And the reasons they're giving it to him are like stupid.
Okay, let's
he did
look
so
at the
well.
reasons. So the reasons here. So the box office. So, okay. Bob Iger is being credited with the success of Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine. Mm-hmm. The latter was a result of good work done by the creative team behind the film, Sean Levy, Hugh Jackman, and Ryan Reynolds. Iger didn't do much. That's true, actually. They had to fight Disney to get some of the jokes through, I guess.
Yeah.
And they fought Disney all along.
It was already in production when it was at 20th Century, 21st Century Fox or whatever. So it was already in production when they got it. Then it was actually Bob Chapek who was in charge when they brought in Hugh Jackman. And when they did a lot of the work on it leading into it, that all the decisions that people liked leading into it, that was done under Chapek. And then Chapek got gone and they just finished the movie, and it was unveiled under Iger. But the majority of that movie, I think most people will agree, it was Ryan Reynolds and company is what made that movie, but Iger gets rewarded. And then it's kind of insulting when he laid off all those people at Pixar.
Yeah.
Right before Inside Out 2 came out, and there was all the stories about the crunch and the demands, and then they got laid off. And then he gets credited, with Inside Out 2 as well after he laid a bunch of Pixar employees off who worked on it. And they weren't going to get, the people that got gone weren't going to get residuals or bonuses based on that movie, even though they did the work on it.
Yeah.
Bob Iger still did.
That's what's so, just bizarre about this is that, he laid up, just goes to show you how important you really were to the Walt Disney Company, right? Laid a bunch of people off from Pixar right before Inside Out 2 comes out. He probably knew what he was doing. It's probably like, well, if I lay these people off and I cut these costs, I'm going to get X number of dollars if this movie does well, because the projections were pretty good for Inside Out 2. I did not think it was going to do as well as it did.
I don't think they did either, which is why they got rid of people at Pixar. And then, because they basically wrapped up the things they were working on, and then they got rid of them. But people were upset because they should have gotten bonuses based on how it performed, and it outperformed expectations significantly. And they were robbed of their bonuses because they were got gone. And then Bob Iger, to rub salt in the wound, gets rewarded for Inside Out 2's, how well it did in the theaters.
That's just astounding. It really is.
I'm not surprised, but it's crap. Yeah. Streaming, another one they're crediting it to is he's pushing streaming services to profitability. He's being credited with the ad spends. Funny funny story about that. The ad spends where they're combining, or they would switch to, ad-supported tiers and all that, that was under Bob Chapek.
Yeah.
Bob Chapek was one that initiated the ad-supported tier, and to go after that ad dollar that they're banking on heavily now. They are deliberately, they've said so, trying to make it so it's less attractive to people to pay for the ad-free version. They find ways that you get some middle ground, as we found out, that you get ads anyway, you pay them more. They're trying to drive people to ad-supported because they make a lot more money off you if you are ad-supported.
Yeah.
So that's where they're making a lot of their money. But that was actually Bob Chapek, not Bob Iger, who put that into play. They aren't mentioning that, but he gets rewarded for it. Also, it was funny too. They're saying that, because he integrated Hulu into Disney Plus, that was doing so much for the brand and for them making money. Another ironic thing was Chapek wanted to put them together, and Bob Iger refused because he said he did not want adult content on Disney Plus. It was for family content only. That was all over the news back in 2021. He didn't want to do that, but then he comes back in. That's one of the first things he does, and they're like, "Oh, reward."
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, it really is kind of crazy. I mean, this just shows kind of what Bob Iger is actually. He is like, look, I don't think he's a leader. I don't think he's a creative. I think he is a corporate seat warmer who got lucky. He's a weatherman who got lucky, who made some smart acquisitions, but then he didn't know what to do with them.
It wasn't his money.
It wasn't his money.
And he's mismanaged like Star Wars and Marvel and things like that.
Well, yeah, the whole Fox acquisition. I mean, they keep trying to spin it like this is this huge win because, Avatar did good, Predator and did okay, and Alien did okay, but not $71 billion. Okay, in no scenario did they get their money back, or are they going to earn their money back on the Fox assets anytime soon? And then that put them massively in debt. And actually
they sold some off. It's still not enough.
No. And then they shut down. It was so weird. They shut down some of the animation studios. They shut down Blue Sky, and that was actually making money, as I understand it. It was doing okay. And so it's like, what you bought all these things, and then you shut down movies that were in production, that were in the pipeline. And what did you buy exactly? What, Home Alone, Alien?
I think they were trying a couple of things. I think they were trying to get the Star Wars rights, because how it was set up was the original trilogy was they didn't have the rights to print those as DVDs and stuff, and there was a rights issue tied up. But by doing this, they got control of it back. They got control of other things back, like Fantastic Four and things like that. So I think it was more about those things. But another thing that they're crediting it to is because of the D23 announcements, the ones that were so popular with people, like we're going to put Cars Land into Magic Kingdom and get rid of Rivers of America. And we're going to put Monsters Incorporated into Hollywood Studios, but we're going to remove Muppets to do it.
They're already starting that. Yeah, they're shutting down Mama Melrose in May.
Yeah, Mama Melrose is May, yeah. And then Muppet Vision and Pizza Rizzo is June.
Pizza Rizzo was a waste of space, but it was never open when we were there. But Mama Melrose is actually one of the few legitimately good restaurants.
People will debate you on that, but yes.
The last couple of times we went was actually pretty good. Now, it's been a while, and I know that since the pandemic, a lot of things have changed, but last time I went to Mama Melrose, it was actually very good. Kids love the steaks. Steaks are really good. But yeah, I mean, and then what are they going to do? Just another cheesy Monsters Inc. What, Harryhausen's?
That's what you said, Harryhausen's. And you're probably right. That's probably what they'll do.
Yeah.
But they're talking about how Disney promised they're going to do $60 billion and all that, which we've talked about at length. Yes, they're going to spend $60 billion over the next 10 years. That's $6 billion per year. When you figure out how many theme parks they have, that's not that much money. Plus, I think the money has to go also to upkeep, not just new things. And I think cruise lines are being rolled into that as well. So it doesn't go as far as you think it does. And they're only mentioning this because Epic Universe is opening in May. And Epic Universe, oh my gosh, every time I see more and more pictures of it, it's going to kick Disney's ass. It just really is. The only thing that might help Disney is if people go down to Florida, to Orlando, to go to Epic Universe and Universal, and then they're like, we're here anyway, we'll go to Disney for a few days. It might give them that boost, but they're not getting it because Bob Iger did something. They're getting it because while we're there, we might stop there too.
Yeah.
Another thing that I saw it on WDW Magic that they were attributing it to was these things, which I credited them for that. It was also, they said, because of some of the awards that they've gotten, like one military magazine awarded it the best park for vets. And another one was, Time Magazine said it was one of the best companies. Again, I want to remind you, Time Magazine is owned by somebody who also owns Salesforce. And until recently, Disney had a big deal with Salesforce in play, and they were using Slack and all that. It wasn't until they had that hack that got into the Slack that they stopped using it. But they had like all kinds of deals in play with Salesforce, and the owner of Salesforce also owns Time Magazine, which may explain all the puff pieces about Bob Iger and the Walt Disney Company that have been going on, constantly since about the time that deal came out. Not saying that's the case. I understand that, correlation is not necessarily causation, but it is a little weird.
It's a little weird. Yeah. So I think this is what he was kind of angling for. I'm wondering, I mean, look, just the cynic in me says that Bob Iger retired. He blew all his money on stupid stuff.
Well, we know he did.
Like Funko and what else did he invest in?
He was in some other metaverse type stuff. Not metaverse.
Stuff.
Yeah, he did AI. I guess he's like part of he does have like a bunch of stuff in Canva.
And
I think he's doing okay with that one. But yeah, he bought himself a boat, and then he partly buy into a sports team recently too.
I think so. The Funko was definitely a money loser. I mean, Funko's not doing very well, but so I'm like, did he retire, blow a lot of his money, and then he came back just to cash out? That's what I think.
I think it's an ego thing. I really do. I think it's an ego thing because he thinks that he is just so important. And he if the stories behind the scenes are true, he went out of his way to cause Chapek trouble and tank him.
Yeah.
And he came back and I want to bring up something else real quick. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
And among this stuff too, they mentioned about the leadership and stuff. Here's the thing though, he's got this reward for all this money. But the stocks are down. Like last April, they were at the highest they've been since he's returned. Because before he came back, they were higher. When he came back, remember, it dropped down like $70 dollars. $123, I think, was around there, was the highest it was back in April of last year. And immediately it tanked because the proxy war failed. And he spent how much money keeping Nelson Peltz out, and the stock tanked. It's now starting to creep back up, but it's still nowhere near the high that it was. So he gets rewarded, even though the stocks have cost investors a bunch of money because they have plummeted under his leadership.
Yeah, I'm like, they basically went back to where they were in 2015. So stocks haven't really, they peaked right before the pandemic. And then it's been just up and down. Like you could see pretty steady growth for years on Disney. Mm-hmm. And then it just kind of like that skyrocketed because of Marvel and Disney Plus and all that, and then like bottomed out.
Mm-hmm. And then when he came back in under Chapek, it was hitting highs again. He came in, and then it got to the lowest. The lowest now is $83, but before that it was like 79 something. Yeah. And he has it up to like 100, and was it 112 right now? But it was 123 back in April under the whole prospect of possibly having a proxy, takeover. And then the stock plummeted after that. It has not come back up yet, but he caused the stock to drop for a lot of investors, and he's getting rewarded.
Yeah, because I think, and that's the thing. I don't think he should get rewarded for that. I think if you have to lay people off,
right, I
think that should be a negative. I think it should be like, okay, if you got to a place where you had to cut a bunch of people because the company is not performing, that's a you problem, right? And I think there need to be some. I don't know how they determine the compensation. The board determines or whatever, but I know a lot of companies are like, yeah, if you lay people off, that's a you problem. You need to freeze your own salary before you freeze other people's salaries. You should fall on your sword. You should take part of your executive compensation and maybe give it to some people. That's the right. You're the leader. That's the right thing to do, right? But that they don't think like that. They don't. No. I mean, this company is supposed to be. This is what gets me about it. This is supposed to be the kind, liberal-leaning, bleeding heart Walt Disney Company that cares so much about everybody's rights and cares so much about family and cares. And this is what happens. The boss is taking a lion's share, laying you people off, getting more for himself. Meanwhile, a bunch of people that were working at Disney just a year ago are probably wondering what the hell they're going to do for a living.
Well, I'm thinking the Pixar animators, if he's getting rewarded for Inside Out 2, and that's one of the big reasons that, because that hit over $1 billion and so did Deadpool. If he's getting rewarded for that, why couldn't, instead of giving him $10 million more in compensation, could you not give those people that you laid off the bonuses they should have gotten? Because they're the reason why it did well. So and they are the ones who made the film. You got rid of them before the film came out. And now they're upset because they can't get bonuses for that. Give them their bonuses back. Yeah. But no, you gave him $10 million more. And I'm just for doing what? He didn't do much.
No. So that's the executive way though, right? You come in, you take credit for everybody else's work. You make sure that you get paid the most, and then you nope out, and it's on them. It's on them what they do after the fact. But he got his, right? He kind of reminds me of he reminds me of the Alec Baldwin character from 30 Rock. It's just like he doesn't give a shit. It's all about making money, and it's all posturing, and that's it. So this is who Disney really is, guys. This is who you're standing for. I'm just telling you, this is the corporate culture.
Even what we heard about what happened with him and Chapek, like it sounds very much like he was deliberately sabotaging Chapek for ego reasons. And it's like, you're supposed to love this company. And Chapek won't sue or anything. He said he doesn't want to get into it because he still loves Disney, and he doesn't want to leave that kind of negativity there. And I don't like Bob Chapek. I mean, people are like, you like Chapek. Like, no, I'm just saying I think fair is fair, and pointing out things is fair. And if that is indeed true, then he did plenty for ego's sake to tank the company himself, and he wasn't even there. He was no longer there, and he was trying his best to tank it. And I'm like, that's kind of douchey. And then he gets to come back, and then he gets rewarded. I just think it's douchey.
I think that this is the company culture now, and this is why I have such a hard time covering Disney, is that this is what the company is. I don't think they're ever going to come back from this. I think they've changed forever. I don't think we have enough people left at Disney that remember doing things Walt's way, or that have the desire to do things Walt's way. It's basically the ABC News Corp, but with extra steps. They own the Mickey Mouse IP, and they own the Pixar IP and all that stuff. But it's not the Walt Disney Company. It hasn't been the Walt Disney Company for a very long time. And it's sad. You just have to realize at some point that these companies change, and just because they have the name, it doesn't mean that they're still the same company. So are we gonna wrap it up? Let's wrap it up. All right, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.